There are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to the fossil making industry. While some believe it to be a science, it's actually an entire industry. You see, it all started at the end of the century at the turn of the Victorian era. People started to realize what a lucrative business artistry could be, but since the popular medium of the time was painting, sculptors had nowhere to go and nothing to do. While painters and commissioners were more the cash cows of the painting industry, what if they went into a more niche but more profitable market? That's right, nerd scientists. These business-savvy sculptors came up with an idea of creating fossils for things that don't exist. Giant lizards, 50 foot long, a 10-foot tall elephant covered in hair with tusks a mile long, men who lived in caves with enormous foreheads. All manufactured by this small group of people. And now, over 100 years later, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. I know what you're thinking. How can I get in that door? Well, I'll show you here today how we make those fossils. This process can take several days or even several weeks depending on how large the fossil you're making is. So, instead of spending days on this, I've got one here that I prepared earlier. So to explain the process in full, you start by sculpting it out of this stone, you sand it down, and then you paint in a lot of the detail. We keep real bones on standby to use as a reference for texture and feel. You can make this out of just about anything. A lot of people swear by clay, but for me, by far, limestone has the best texture. However, you may notice by looking at this skull that it's significantly smaller than what you would expect from a triceratops. Back in the day, people actually used to have to find slabs of stone big enough to carve these out of. But since we live in the digital age, all I have to do is take out my phone, 3D scan it into an app, and send it to the 3D printer where we can print it as big as we want. And that's just about it, right? We just make a mold, fill it with what we want, and plant it in the ground? No. First, you have to get approval from the If we were getting new scientific breakthroughs on dinosaurs every week, the art would become worthless. The council will come and ensure that you meet all of their specifications so that it matches other species of the same type. When they come in, they'll likely ask you to rough it up a bit, poke some holes in it, so that way it doesn't devalue the rest of their artifacts. And that's the unfortunate truth about this industry. It's not a get-rich-quick scam. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's Oh, and one more thing. Always follow the will of the council. They may be gracious and let one fossil slide. They'll have the government come and take it away, and they'll say it was their property, and then they'll come in and take it from the government. But if you're unlucky enough to fall in their ill graces more than once, I cannot ensure the safety of you or your family. Special thanks to Brass and Bones for having me out here to do this talk to shed light on an industry that not a lot of people know about. I'm Chris McCoy, and I'll see you next time. I hit my thumb.